You're hearing this for a reason. Maybe you found yourself awake in the middle of the night, heart racing, not knowing why. Or maybe it's that quiet pull, the feeling that something deep inside is calling your name. That's not anxiety. That's awakening, the moment your soul begins to remember why it came here. Aries, it's time to pause for a moment. Take a slow, deep breath and let these words touch the place within you that you've kept hidden for so long. Because tonight, we're returning to the beginning of it all, to that sacred moment when your birthday stopped being just a date and became a divine signature. The exact instant the universe chose you to carry its fire into this world. There are moments in life that seem ordinary, yet in truth, they are when the universe gently touches you, a quiet whisper from somewhere far beyond. Being born under Aries is never a coincidence. The day you entered this world was sacred, the exact moment when the heavens agreed to open a new door, allowing your soul to step into its path as a pioneer. In ancient astrology, Aries marks the beginning of the zodiac, the place where life takes its first breath, where the very first flame was lit in the long winter of the cosmos. That's why every Aries carries within them a divine mission to open paths, not only in the physical world but also in the spiritual one. You were chosen to go first, to stumble, to rise again, and to light the way for those who will come after. Your life may have felt like a series of storms, endless restarts, endless lessons. At times, it might have seemed like the universe kept testing your strength, again and again. But remember this, Aries was never born for an easy life. Your soul came to be forged in the fire, to learn how to turn every blaze of chaos into a light of guidance. Each scar, each fall, each ending, all were sacred rites of passage, shaping you into the guide you were always meant to be. When young, many Aries feel out of place. While others seek safety, you crave freedom. While the world says, slow down, your heart insists, go. That doesn't make you reckless, it makes you rare. That difference is your cosmic signature, the universe's way of reminding you that you were not born to blend in. You were born to begin, to ignite, to awaken life itself. You are the first spark, not because you are greater than others, but because the world needs someone brave enough to begin. Today's world is missing those who dare to do what's right when no one else will, those who choose to believe in the light even when surrounded by darkness. Aries, you are that answer. Your mission isn't found in fame or triumph. It's hidden in the quiet choices you make from the heart, a kind word, a courageous decision, a moment of forgiveness when anger would be easier. People think the sacred call arrives with thunder and revelation, but sometimes it comes in silence, in the stillness of the night, when your heart whispers, "I can't live this lie anymore." That's when you realize it's time to start over, to live truthfully, even if no one understands. The call doesn't speak in words. It moves through feeling, a deep sense that your soul still has something unfinished to do here. If you're hearing this now, that call may already be awakening inside you. It's soft, like breath, but strong, like fire waiting to be lit. Don't fear the stirring in your heart or the return of old dreams. This is how the universe reminds you of who you are and what you came here to become. Listen closely. Every person you meet, every experience you pass through, every restless moment that keeps you awake, they are all messages, gentle signs from the universe guiding you back to your soul's true path. Aries, the day you were born was the day light found a new shape. You weren't sent here to follow, you came to carve a road that has never been walked before. And though this journey can be lonely, it is the most sacred one a soul could ever choose. Sometimes the divine call doesn't come from above. It rises from within, where your soul softly whispers, "Remember why you began." And once you hear that whisper, the signs will start to appear, like doors opening in the void, like gentle signals from the universe, guiding you home. There are nights when you lie still in the dark, too tired to think, too weary to move, and yet your heart refuses to rest. Something inside you keeps stirring soft, almost invisible but strong enough to awaken every cell in your body. You hear the faint whisper of something you can't quite name, a quiet knowing that your life hasn't truly begun yet. And in that moment, the Aries soul opens its eyes. Aries is the first child of the universe. That's why within you burns a primal hunger, the desire to begin, to touch what no one has touched, to see what no one has yet seen. That's why you're restless, impatient, always reaching for something more. The world might call it impulsive, but in truth, it's the sacred pull of a soul that hasn't yet found its true direction. You're hearing your calling, you just haven't recognized it yet. Maybe you've felt it before. You're living your life as usual, and one day, everything feels offbeat. A job you once loved turns hollow. A relationship that once felt safe begins to weigh you down. The things that used to comfort you suddenly feel too small, too tight. That's not a crisis, it's your soul outgrowing its shell. When your mission begins to speak, it rarely shouts. It shows up in subtle ways, gentle but unmistakable. You start seeing repeating numbers like 111, 911, right when you're questioning your next step. You dream of light, of doors, of someone guiding you through. You meet a stranger and feel as if you've known them for lifetimes. You hear a song, a phrase, a random conversation, and something deep inside of you wakes up. That's how the universe speaks to Aries, not through logic, but through frequency, through emotion. You don't need to understand it right away. Just open your heart and listen. Most people panic when change begins. They think they're losing control. But that's not falling apart, that's coming home. When the soul remembers its purpose, the old life simply becomes too small to hold it. Restlessness isn't your enemy, it's your compass. Here's a quiet truth: the soul only stops stirring when it's finally living in alignment with itself. If you no longer feel that inner pull, it might mean you've drifted away from who you truly are. But when your heart keeps whispering questions like, "Am I really on the right path?" Or, "Why do I feel there's something more I need to do?" That's light approaching. That's your awakening. If you pause for a moment, place your hand on your chest, breathe deeply, and ask, "What truly makes me feel alive?" The answer will come, not in words, but in warmth. A quiet heat spreading inside, like a flame being rekindled after a long, dark night. That's you, Aries, remembering who you've always been and why you came here. Your soul wasn't sent to follow. It came to lead, not to chase safety, but to seek meaning. And that meaning is found only when you dare to listen to the quiet voice within, when you trust that even your wildest feelings might be the map your destiny wrote for you. This world needs people like you, those who ask questions when others stay silent, those who take the first step when no path is clear. Because that sensitivity, that restlessness, that inability to settle is not a flaw. It's proof that your soul is waking up. And when you awaken, the world begins to change with you. In the pale light of dawn, you'll start to sense it, something inside you shifting, your emotions softening, your intuition sharpening. Everything around you begins to make sense in a way it never did before. A new life quietly begins to move within you. And as you start listening, you'll feel the energy inside you changing, like underground rivers finally meeting, merging into a new current, where unseen forces of the universe begin to flow together and carry you forward. Beneath the ever-moving sky, where planets spin in their own orbits yet remain bound by the same cosmic rhythm, Aries is the very first note, bold, impulsive, blazing with fire. But even fire comes in many shades. Helena Blavatsky once said, "No two flames ever burn the same way, just as no two Aries souls carry the same mission." Every Aries is born with a distinct frequency, a unique melody the universe plays at the precise moment of your birth. Those born between March 21, 30 are the pioneers of light, the ones who carry the energy of the sun blended with Saturn, fiery yet disciplined. These are the souls sent to start things, to open doors no one else dares to touch. They are the ones who believe before proof exists, who lead even when the path is unclear. Their lives are rarely easy. Challenges come not as punishment but as sacred training, the universe forging spiritual leadership through trial. When they learn to balance action with patience, instinct with compassion, they become torches lighting the way for an entire generation. Those born between March 31, April 9 hold the essence of the healers of fire, those who mend through courage and love. Ruled by Mars and Venus, they are the dance between strength and gentleness. Inside them lives a quiet battle, the longing to protect versus the fear of being hurt. They are chosen to transform pain into light, failure into inspiration. Their mere presence, sincere and warm, has the power to make others feel seen, loved, and safe. And those born between April 10, 19 belong to the visionary builders, the dreamers who make ideas real. They embody Mars fused with Mercury action joined with intellect. They don't just dream, they build. They don't only speak of the future, they create it. Their souls are driven by a deep calling to craft something lasting, something that frees others from fear and awakens faith in themselves. These souls can manifest vision into form, but only after learning humility, that true power lies not in speed, but in endurance. Though their energies differ, all three groups flow within one great current, the current of light. Placed side by side, they reveal a complete cycle of creation, from action to healing to manifestation. It's the spiral of evolution every Aries must walk to become the full expression of the flame they carry. And within that diversity lies humanity's quiet revelation. There is no small mission, no meaningless soul. Each being is an irreplaceable note in the grand symphony of existence. When you understand this, you stop comparing, stop chasing someone else's light, and begin tending the sacred fire that is your own. Maybe you are a pioneer, maybe a healer, maybe a builder. Whoever you are a vital part of something vast, breathing, and alive. And perhaps the world has been waiting for you exactly as you are. When you start living in tune with your soul's frequency, everything around you begins to shift. Those who never understood you will quietly fade away. Those meant to walk beside you will appear. Opportunities open from impossible directions. Because once you align with the energy written for you, the entire universe rearranges itself to clear your path. Blavatsky wrote, "No soul comes here to repeat another. Each presence is a prayer." So instead of asking, "Why am I different?" ask, "What does the universe wish to create through my difference?" The clash of energies within you, between instinct and faith, fear and love, is not chaos. It's the sound of transformation, the process of a flame learning to shine without burning. And when you finally embrace both your light and your shadow, you become whole, strong enough to bring true illumination to others. In that journey, greatness isn't measured by how much you achieve, but by how many hearts awaken simply because you exist. Each time you step beyond fear, another soul sees itself in you and begins to rise too. That's how light spreads, quietly, steadily, like a flame that never dies through the long night of humanity. And when you begin to feel this energy moving through you, you'll realize every challenge came not to break you, but to forge you. For before fulfilling its sacred mission, the Aries soul must first master one lesson above all, the deepest inner truth that every flame must learn before it can truly become light. There are people who live half their lives before realizing this. The hardest thing in life isn't to conquer others, but to truly understand yourself. For Aries, that truth runs even deeper. Because your soul wasn't born to rest in peace and comfort. It was born to be forged through challenge. Your fire is strong, bright enough to warm a city, but without awareness, it can just as easily burn the one who holds it. From the beginning of time, you were chosen to go first. But being first means walking alone, making the first mistakes, feeling the sting of lessons no one has faced before. Aries acts quickly, you see. You believe, and you move. And yet, it's through those moments of rushing forward that the universe slips in its finest lessons. Not as punishment, but as guidance, to teach you how to listen. Think of someone who once lived that story, a business owner, an artist, a parent, someone carrying the pure Aries flame. They had everything: passion, drive, faith. But one day, they lost direction. Trying so hard to prove themselves, they ran faster and faster until they could no longer hear the voice of their own heart. And when failure came, they thought the flame had gone out. But in the silence that followed, when there was no one left to blame, no goal left to chase, they began to hear something softer. A whisper from within, the voice that had always been there, hidden beneath the noise of the world. Aries, this is the lesson your soul came here to learn. Not every movement is progress. Sometimes, stopping is an act of courage. True strength isn't found in burning endlessly, but in knowing when to let your flame rest. There are moments when light can only be seen after we've stepped willingly into the dark, and in that stillness, you begin to understand every wound isn't an enemy, it's a teacher. People often call Aries bold, fierce, determined. But few know that inside that strength lies a deeply sensitive heart, one that feels deeply, hurts easily, and forgives even faster. Your soul doesn't learn strength by becoming hard. It learns it through compassion, through staying kind in the middle of the storm, because the world doesn't need more warriors without tenderness. It needs those brave enough to remain gentle after they've been hurt. Think of the times you've exploded in anger, wanted to quit, or felt like you couldn't go on. Now remember the moments you chose silence instead of shouting, forgiveness instead of revenge, peace instead of pride. Those were the moments your soul was growing. Because fire can destroy, but it can also illuminate. It depends on the hands that tend it. In every breath, in every turning of your life, the universe is whispering one truth. Real power doesn't need to be proven. It just needs to be lived. When you understand that, you stop fighting to win and start fighting to keep your light alive. When others react, you pause. When others force, you soften. That's the quiet maturity of the Aries soul. Maybe you once believed kindness made you weak, but the truth is, only those who are strong enough dare to be kind. Only those who have fallen know how to lift others up, and only those who've lost their way can truly appreciate the road back home. One day, you'll understand no pain is wasted, no mistake meaningless. Everything that happens is part of the journey, each scar, each stumble, a necessary cut in the sculpture of your becoming. Every wound, when healed with love, becomes a jewel in your soul's collection of wisdom. And when your heart has been tempered by every wind, every crack, every heartbreak, you'll realize something sacred: you were never truly alone. Something, or someone, has always been there, watching, guiding, holding you steady in your weakest moments. Because it's when the heart is refined by experience, when your fire learns to burn without harm, that the divine protection begins to appear, like the gentle hand of the universe resting on your shoulder, reminding you you were never walking alone. There are days when it feels like the world has turned its back on you. Every door is closed, every dream seems to dissolve into nothing. You sit alone in a quiet room, wondering if anyone is still listening to your prayers. And yet, in that very moment of loneliness, something extraordinary happens. A single ray of light slips through the crack in the door, soft, steady, gentle, as if someone is whispering, "I'm still here." For the Aries soul, that is the sign of divine protection. Because every time you align with your soul's true path, the universe begins to speak, not loudly, but through subtle signs you cannot mistake. A chance meeting with a stranger who somehow feels familiar. A simple phrase on the radio that moves your heart to tears. A random detour that leads you exactly where you were meant to be. That's how the universe works. Quietly, precisely, miraculously. The ancients called it the invisible grace, the unseen guardianship from higher realms. Helena Blavatsky wrote that some souls are entrusted to spiritual protectors, beings of light who walk beside them as they fulfill their mission. For Aries, that guardian often carries the energy of Archangel Michael, the embodiment of courage, the sword of light that severs fear. Whenever you stand at a crossroads, trembling between staying and going, between faith and doubt, between shadow and dawn, that presence brushes your shoulder not to command you, but to remind you. You are stronger than you think, and sometimes that protection doesn't come from heaven at all, but through people. A friend who calls just as you're about to give up, a stranger's smile that restores your faith in humanity, a helping hand extended when you believed no one remembered you. All of them, knowingly or not, are angels in disguise. Not to rescue you, but to remind you, you are never alone. Divine protection doesn't promise an easy life. It promises guidance as long as your heart stays bright. When you live in alignment with your soul's purpose, your actions themselves become a living prayer. The universe doesn't need your words. The light you radiate becomes the sound of your faith. There is a deeply human truth within this sacred law. When you become good, you are not only protected, and you become a protector. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every choice to love instead of judge builds an invisible shield of light around you. That energy doesn't just keep you safe, it blesses everyone you touch. Think back to the times you narrowly escaped danger or received good news right after losing hope. Those moments weren't accidents. They were the universe's response to the honesty and purity of your soul. Each time you walk with clear intent, the heavens lean closer to open the way. You may not see the angels with your eyes, but you will feel them with your heart, in the calm that steadies you during a storm, in the tears that fall but somehow make you smile. Protection isn't always a shield that blocks the wind. Sometimes it's the quiet strength that keeps you standing while the wind blows through you. And in the longest nights, when you look up at the sky, remember every star is a blessing, every breeze a message, every heartbeat a confirmation that you are loved, protected, and guided. No prayer is ever lost, no step ever goes unseen, everything is recorded in light. And if you pause for just a breath, you'll notice something beautiful. What you thought was coincidence was actually the precise choreography of faith. Because when your soul begins to live fully in its mission, every person, every event, every hardship becomes a teacher, a companion, a guardian in disguise. And if you look deeper into those experiences, you'll realize each one carries a hidden message, a whisper from the universe meant only for you, Aries, guiding you one step closer to the awakening of your sacred light. Sometimes we have to travel far, only to realize that what we were searching for has been waiting inside our own hearts all along. For Aries, that journey is not just through the hills and storms of life, it's a sacred return, a return to remember why the flame within you was given to you in the first place. Blavatsky once wrote, "Every flame is created with a purpose." For Aries, that flame wasn't born to burn or to prove its power, but to illuminate. Your true mission isn't to outshine anyone, but to transform yourself, and through that transformation, to lift the frequency of the world around you. Every time you overcome fear, you help the world shed another layer of darkness. Every time you choose love instead of reaction, you open another door of light for humanity. In ancient astrology, Aries stands at the beginning of the zodiac, the point where life takes its first breath, where the sun first touches the earth, awakening seeds after a long winter. It's not just the symbol of beginnings, it's the symbol of faith. Because no beginning exists without belief. No one plants a seed thinking it will never grow, and no one walks toward dawn without trusting that the light will rise after the night. For Aries, that faith is your soul's inheritance. You were born to believe in goodness, in people, in your own power to heal, But along life's path, that faith is tested. You are betrayed, misunderstood, wounded sometimes by the very people you once lifted up, and in those moments, the light in your heart flickers. But that's when the universe whispers, "Now, remember why I gave you the flame." Fire does not fear the dark, it exists to dispel it, and so it is with you. You are not sent to avoid challenges, but to transform them. Your mission is to turn pain into wisdom, anger into action, fear into love. The world today is full of noise, full of people chasing titles and applause, forgetting the sacred meaning of simply living. Aries was born to remind humanity that action only has value when it rises from faith in what is good. When you act from fear, you burn out. When you act from love, your energy becomes infinite. Love is not weakness. It is the purest form of strength. Because only when you truly love do you dare to let go of ego, and only when you let go do you become free. That freedom doesn't come from the outside, it blooms from within. It's the freedom of a soul that no longer needs recognition, only purpose. Look at an Aries who has grown wise. They still move boldly, still burn brightly, but their flame no longer shouts, it warms. They no longer say, "Watch what I can do," but smile softly, letting their light speak for itself. The fire within you isn't meant to make the world afraid, it's meant to make the world believe that light still exists. When you act with kindness, you become a guide for lost souls. When you rise after failure, you teach others what faith looks like. When you choose forgiveness, you prove that love is still the final answer. Fire is not for destruction, it's for illumination. That truth isn't just for the cosmos, it's for you, Aries. You are the torchbearer of this age, the one who rekindles hope for a world that has forgotten its own light. And when you finally understand the meaning hidden behind every challenge, you'll stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start smiling. So, this is how life teaches me to love deeper. Because only when you act from love instead of fear does your soul's mission truly begin. And from that moment on, your fire changes, no longer burning to prove, but glowing gently, like the first light of dawn after the longest, quietest night. Not every dawn begins with light. Sometimes it begins with darkness, the deep kind, where the soul must sit with itself, listening to its own breath, looking straight at the cracks it once tried so hard to hide. For Aries, rebirth doesn't come from miracles or promises made by others. It begins the moment you fully accept who you are, the strength and the softness, the fire and the fragility, the mistakes no one saw and the dreams you still keep secret. Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is the soul of beginnings. But to begin again, you must allow the old to fall away. Like a flame that's burned all through the night, when it fades, it doesn't die. It simply makes room for another kind of fire, the fire of wisdom, of stillness, of understanding. In many Aries lives, there comes a turning point, a quiet moment when everything loses meaning. You look around and feel no pull to fight anymore. Your work no longer excites you. The faces once familiar now feel distant. Even your reflection seems like a stranger. That is not the end. That is the invitation to be reborn. Rebirth never arrives with noise. It comes in silence, when the soul grows tired of resisting itself. When you stop demanding perfection, stop forcing strength, stop chasing right, and simply whisper, "I accept." That's when a new light begins to rise from within. You don't need to change your nature. You just need to make peace with it. Make peace with the part of you that burned in anger at being misunderstood. Make peace with the part that feared being left behind. Make peace with the part that chose wrong, that said words it wishes it hadn't. Forgiving yourself is the quiet ritual of the soul's second birth. No bells, no ceremony, just the moment you stop blaming yourself and realize you are worthy of love, even while still becoming. The Aries flame has never died. It has only learned to shine without burning, not others, not you. And when that happens, your inner world changes. You stop seeking recognition and start listening for peace. You stop comparing and start giving thanks. You stop running and finally return home to your own heart. In this modern age, many believe rebirth means discarding the past, becoming someone entirely new. But the truth is different. Rebirth is remembering who you were before the hurt, before the fear, before you forgot that you were light itself. And when you remember that, you no longer need miracles, because you realize you are the miracle, the one still standing after everything that should have broken you. Aries, you don't need perfection to be loved. You only need honesty with your heart. Let yourself cry when you must, rest when you're weary, smile when you see even the faintest glow on the horizon. Those are the signs of a soul being reborn. And if you feel you're in your season of rebirth, share your story. Sometimes, your light is the candle that helps another soul find its way through the dark. And there is nothing more beautiful than two souls meeting each other in the light. Rebirth doesn't end with a shout of triumph. It ends with a single, steady breath, eyes closed, a small smile, a deep knowing that everything which has ever broken you was only teaching you one simple truth. Every fracture is just the soul learning how to begin again. Thank you, brave soul, for being here, for listening to your own calling amid the endless noise of the world. Your journey, whether quiet or radiant, is already helping to light this world in its own sacred way. If there is one thing you take from today's story, let it be this: the light within your heart has never gone out. Even when it feels like only a faint spark remains, as long as you believe, it will rise again, guiding you forward and illuminating the path for those still searching for their own spark. May that light always lead you through the night, through the storms, through the unseen turns of your life. And may every new dawn remind you that you were born to begin something great, not through noise or grand gestures, but through kindness, resilience, and a love that never fades. If these words have touched you, share what you've discovered today. Your story might become the torch that guides another wandering soul home. And who knows, from that moment, another quiet rebirth may begin, gentle, steady, and shining, brighter than ever before.